What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 16 of the Next Wave podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Blake Zanny Janney, joined by my co-host, Dak D. Woody Woodall. And today we're on episode 16. Closing in on episode 20, we're going to be covering this weekend of CDL, as well as Dak's going to give us our Rocket League update, as always. And we also got a fun interview with one of Dak's old friends from the old COD days, Connor, a.k.a. Drizzy, who has a history of esports career. So we're going to have an interview with him as well. Just going to be Dak for the interview. And we'll go ahead and jump into the episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy, and let's get into it. So before we get started to our usual topics of COD, Rocket League, and everything esports, I had a weekend of traveling, getting home from my week of training. So my weekend was pretty chill. Settled in at home on Friday night. Went to see Dune Part 2. That was fire. And then just chilled the rest of the weekend. Watched some matches, played some games. Getting ready for my first week here in Dallas of work. But Dak, how was your weekend, man?
It was good. I was also going to go see Dune 2, but we had a homie that couldn't see it and really wants to, so we're delaying until later this week or next.
Damn it, I was hoping we could chop it up.
Yeah, but I am excited for it, bro, because I love Dune 1. I saw it twice in theaters. So I'm
it was
excited
fire.
for it. But no, I've been doing good. I've been playing a lot of COD, actually, believe it or not. I hopped on with Darius one night, and we won like 11 games in a row, and I've been hooked ever since. I'm back.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun. Once you find your rhythm in it, especially for you, you haven't really touched COD like that since Cold War.
Yeah.
And so like once you get your footing again, don't try and learn the game. By the way,
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
get
I
good at
haven't
shooting
been,
and
honestly.
movement.
Yeah.
Don't try, because I promise you, me trying to figure out the game has made me worse. I swear to God.
Yeah.
So just focus on your timings, your shooting your gun, and your movement, and you'll have infinitely more fun.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, honestly. Like, I haven't really cared about spawns. I feel like I know spawns better in this game than I have in years past, just because I'm getting better.
Which is crazy.
COD. But I don't know, just like what to expect. Because used to, I was lost on the map.
Yeah.
But
especially since we've been watching it.
yeah, I think now that I watch it a lot, I just am starting to understand it a little bit better. But I'm also in low level lobbies. Like, whenever we get up in we got like crimsons and stuff, then it's like, okay, I should probably learn a little bit more about the game.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be surprised at some of the crimsons I play like that are on my team, and I'm just like, what am I fucking watching, bro? But yeah, nonetheless, speaking of COD, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Friday was an absolute snooze fest. We had 2 3-0s on the day, so we're going to get through this really quickly. First matchup of the day on Friday was the Minnesota Rocker versus the Atlanta FaZe. Going into this, I was thinking 3-0, maybe 3-1, because Rocker have a history of starting off hot regardless of who they're playing on map 1. We saw them do it to New York Subliners at the major. So I think I threw out 3-1 on the predictions, but FaZe come out here 3-0. It's a complete red carpet versus green carpet in terms of KD.
Yeah.
And it was the worst series we've seen from Lens this year. Kind of uncharacteristic, but again, it's against as of this past Sunday, which we'll get to, the best team in the game right now. FaZe.
Yeah, and to me, this is a FaZe trying out maps kind of series.
Absolutely.
They absolutely stomped them on Rio, bro. I mean, 330 bombs. Line, 330 bombs from FaZe. Hold on, I keep losing you for some reason. I'll move you over here. Okay. Yeah, I mean, 330 bombs from FaZe. This was absolute dominance across the board. There's really, Minnesota's struggling. They've had a super hard schedule this stretch. I'm not going to act like they're just out here trash and losing to people that they shouldn't lose to, even though they did this weekend. I just think that's tough for them, and there were series that they should have won, and now they're just kind of spiraling mentally, I would assume. You go from top 4 major 1 to 0-5 guaranteed losers pretty much this time.
Yep.
It's tough, but I still have belief in Minnesota to be a team that should beat those bottom 4 teams on land. I think they still play, better as a team than a lot of these teams like Seattle and teams that are really struggling. So I think at the end of the day, like, they're still going to be in that mid pack and perform a little bit better on land coming up this major.
I agree. I think they're just slowly regressing to the bottom of that mid tier right now, I would say. Obviously, like you said, they have had some tough matchups, but as we'll see later, in the schedule here, they've also had some easy matchups that haven't gone their way. So I'm interested to see what happens going into the major, but I mean, nothing really else to touch on this series. 3-0 Masterclass. They squared up on Rio, which is crazy.
Yeah. And I think regardless of what happens, Big Wake, I think they need to move on from him, bro.
Yeah, I was going to save it for the Sunday match, but I'm calling for a Big Wake drop. That is sleepening. That is not awakening. Yeah. He's definitely sleep. And even when he's having those good high kill games, he's not making winning plays. Like they're not winning, right? Like we saw it in that control against Optic that started that reverse sweep last week. Like, yeah, he went 34-17, but he also costed them that last round by using a terrible kill streak. Like he's not making winning plays, so I don't know. We'll see what they do approaching the major, but anything to say before we go on to the next match?
No. I think you covered it.
Cool. Yeah, so going into the next match here, I lost. Where are we?
Me too. Now I got to go to completed. We said it was more user-friendly, but I messed up.
Oh, yeah, dang. Once you click the match, it goes back to upcoming. Yeah. Okay. So next matchup here, another snoozer, Toronto versus the Seattle Surge.
Triple Karachi.
Triple Karachi, and it didn't last very long. We had 2 convincing map wins and then a Karachi 3-2 to be expected at a certain extent.
Yeah.
On control going round 5. Round 5, in terms of like margin of winning, doesn't really mean much in this game. Like we see top teams and bottom teams go to round 5 in control all the time. It's just how these maps play out. So this was an absolute masterclass.
Yeah, but also, did you see, like, Seattle went up 2-0 in control. Then Ultra said, all right, let me lean forward real quick. And they absolutely mopped them the rest of the control, bro.
Was it you that said that you think they let them go up 2-0 and they wanted to just see if they could do it?
Yeah. Like
I could see it too. Fucking Scrap and
like
Octoboy on the same team,
bro. It felt like the switch got flipped and they were like, all right, let's lock in. We let them get 2 rounds.
I watched the first map, or half of the first map, and then my flight started boarding, so I didn't get to watch this series. But as soon as I landed, I remember like seeing a text, or I think I hopped in Discord on my phone or something, and you were like, it looks like they gave them the first 2 rounds and to try to reverse sweep them in the control, and they do. So 3-0, we actually saw Arcides have an okay... I mean, he had a 1.17.
He's stat padding to save himself.
I was going to say, like, it's nice to see a green next to his name because it's been very red all season.
It is.
Like, you got 3-0 door dashed. Like, come on, you are Killhorn, buddy. And he only went +6. Like,
I mean, what can you do though? They're the worst team in the league playing the best team in the league. When shit starts falling apart, you might as well just try to get kills and make your KD look better than how you played.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Especially in that situation. But 3-0 masterclass from Toronto, triple Karachi. They just squared up and shit on them. Like, they didn't even throw in a sub base in there. They didn't throw an invasion in there to give themselves some hope. A Rio to give, maybe Hook and Brezzy a time to show that they're a sub duo, a competent sub duo at the very least. They didn't even give them a chance at that. Like, they're running maps that have been out since day one.
Yeah.
3 maps in a row. So we didn't see any sort of change up from Seattle. That's how you know they just went into this expecting a L. But, I mean, masterclass from Toronto, not really much to touch on if you're ready to go into Saturday.
Blow it up.
Blow it up. I agree. So taking a look here, first match. Excuse me. On Saturday, this one I was kind of taking. I thought this was going to be an absolute banger.
Me too.
It was the Legion versus the Breach. And I was like, I got Boston winning this. I can see it going to Game 5. Even though, thinking back on it, like I still would have had this logic before this match. Like if it goes to game 5, I'm taking Paris. But
Yeah.
so I mean, I still had Boston winning whatever map count. But Legion come out and 3-0 them pretty convincingly in the S&D. They won, and then the other two maps went down to the wire. Karachi Invasion 3-0 from the Legion. And Nero, again, just showing how consistent he can be, able to go 1.27 through these three maps. Attached still doing his thing, and we see Purge with a 1.0.
Yeah, and Purge still though is struggling in hardpoint, dude.
Yes, he is a free kill in hardpoint right now. He went 15 and 24 the map one, which I mean, to be fair, yes, he is struggling, but I feel like he's making the right plays. He just has poor timings and just can't win a gunfight, it seems.
Yeah.
But they are proving that this kind of role change, quote unquote, is affecting his play style favorably for this team.
Yeah, no. Regardless, they're playing winning COD right now. Purge did make the play to seal that map 1 off, though.
Yes.
So
he did. It was a 2-piece, right?
Yeah. So he did make a big play to seal that, and he also made a big play in control to end up winning that map. So I mean, he does show up, and even when they were getting slammed, the first split, I would watch their matches, and he would like win his ones in S&D, and like, you know, he's usually pretty clutch in the times that I watch him. So regardless, you know, he may not be dropping the most kills, but he's definitely like playing right when it matters.
I agree. I think it's easy to harp on someone's like inabilities, as you know, as a rookie entering the league, right? They have the spotlight on them. Are they going to do well? Are they not? Coming off of a win, a Challengers Champs win last year, right? You have high hopes. But overall, like we've seen him be consistently a really good search player, which is great. And so maybe that factored into the the overall decision to drop Standy, because Standy's never been a standout S&D player, never been consistent, never been bad, but just never been like, you can rely on him. So maybe that factored in. But I mean, overall, I just want to give my flowers to Attach. He won them that map too, going 12-4.
Yeah, that was a masterclass.
Yeah, and just overall, he's been really consistent, and it's not something that I naturally would have expected at the start of this season. So shout out to Attach, one of the older, I wouldn't even say older, one of the more tenured players in the league. So shout out to him for still frying, and obviously Nero.
Yeah.
Still consistent.
Yeah, dude. And I shout out Geo. Geo is playing pretty good too, bro. I like Geo. Yeah.
He didn't, I mean, lowest KD overall for the match, but we can see he's already more consistent than Purge has been, and that's not a knock to Purge. That's just a glaring, fact. Obviously, the sample size is a lot smaller for Geo, but like when you get thrown into the middle of a team that has like a controversial team change, and then they bring on Geo as well, like
and
you're
just
thinking
new to the league as a whole.
He's a rookie, and he's holding his ground. He hasn't done anything crazy. He's had some really good maps here and there, mostly against middle to bottom teams. But overall, he's holding his own. He played okay in the match against Toronto, where they got 3-1, 6-0'd him in the search. I don't think he died in that search. So I definitely think that Paris is going to be a sleeper for this next major, because they're going to start in winner's bracket.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And it's fun to see, bro. When Attach is doing well, it's a good day for COD.
I agree. Anything else to touch on before heading to the Optic match here?
No.
Okay. Going into the next match of the day on Saturday, we had the Optic Texas going up against the Royal Ravens. Optic Texas ended up being able to take this one 3-1. They get shit on in the high-rise S&D really bad.
That was bad.
They haven't played this since the major, high-rise S&D, when they lost to FaZe
and they won't
in the
play it
losers
since
finals.
This day either.
I definitely think this was a case of, we're playing against Carolina. Let's try and run high-rise S&D and see if we can do something against a bottom team. They get absolutely dumped on 6-1. There's one round where Gwyn falls off the map, and then Optic also gets another kill, and they lose the 2v4 to Clay and Fellow. Like, you got to be able to close those rounds out against these bottom teams, and it's not just this map, and it's not just against Carolina.
No, it's been
Optic's
almost
S&D
every
has
series.
been really shaky.
Yeah.
just in
And
general. The mode has not been the best for them.
I mean, if you recall, bro, back in Vanguard when Thieves were struggling in the early half of the year, a lot of the complaints were they couldn't win when they got numbers in S&D. You know, their S&D was really wishy-washy, and, you know, they had multiple 4v2s where they would choke the round away in Vanguard, and then they ended up figuring it out, and they became a way better team as the season went on. This is also a Kenny-led team. This might just be a thing with him, and, you know, it's still early. It's only the middle of Major 2's split, so maybe eventually, when they get that figured out.
But also, they were getting smoked in most
that
game
map,
modes. They just weren't that good.
Oh yeah, the Vanguard team.
Like, yeah, the Vanguard 100 Thieves team. Mm-hmm. Like, Optic looks great in respawns, even against top teams. So it's really just their search, and I don't know if it has anything to do with the mindset or the playstyle that Kenny's bringing to S&D, if it's his presence on the map alone that causes some woes, which I can't really decipher it in the gameplay. You know, I'd have to watch a full map, but at the same time, I don't know how much context you can really bring from this S&D in particular as they're trying to work it into the map pool, test it out against a bottom quarter team. So yeah, not too much credit going into this, but the invasion control though, 3-0 from Optic. They made invasion offense look easy, like the preferred side.
Yeah, and which going into this map, they were harping on how bad Ravens have been on invasion. They're like 0-4 or 0-6 going into that map. So I mean, they were already on the back foot going in, and they were playing Optic, and it showed. It was just a DoorDash of a game.
Yeah, and then the last map, Hardpoint, 250 to 206. I mean, you look at the kill spread, it was pretty tight in kills. I think it was a difference of only like 10 kills. But you have Pred setting the Shotzi setting the Hardpoint kill record at 43 for this game. He ends the series with a 1.55 overall. Now, again, it is against the Royal Ravens, but I feel like at times in the beginning of the, during Split 1 and Major 1, even against some of these bottom teams, we were like, where's Shotzi at?
Yeah.
You know? Like, the first split, we were like, thank God Kenny and Pred are on this team, like, for the first, 5 matches.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to see Shotzi turn up, get 99 kills in a series. Dashi had 63. Shotzi had 99. Like he was in the mix, went positive 35 with a 1.55. So shout out to Shotzi. I really hope he's able to continue this success and do it against a top team, because I'm tired of Aches talking shit again about Shotzi, bro.
Yeah, no, we desperately need Optic to at least make it a series against a top team and perform well, because they haven't played anyone this split, and the one team, the Rocker, who is somewhat decent, they should have lost that series 7 different times. Optic had. So, we need to see them perform well against a top 4 team, or, I'm a little worried.
Yeah, no, I agree. It all comes down to who's in front of you that day, right? Like we can't sit here and be mad that they're doing well against Carolina, right? Which I feel like a lot of people forget the fact that they're not making their own schedule, right? It's not like Notre Dame scheduling their week 1, right? They're paying the Ravens to play them every week type shit, but it was a good win for Optic nonetheless, other than that search, and I'm excited to watch them play again. I'm tired of seeing them only play once a weekend, man.
Yeah, me too.
I need their two match weekend to come back here.
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't know where to put Optic. In my head, there's a top 3 right now. I think New York's back, and
yeah, I do too.
And Optic is just below them, but above everyone else, and they should beat everyone else. Maybe on LAN, Vegas could give Optic a game, because they're looking good right now, and I bet they're super confident right now.
Especially in search.
Yeah, and Attach has a chip on his shoulder, you can tell.
Yeah, and I mean, alone, you look at a series, if Optic and Vegas play on LAN and Vegas steals a respawn, I'm not confident in Optic whatsoever to win the series.
Yeah. Because
of how good Vegas is in search and how inconsistent Optic is. So hopefully that's not the case. But nonetheless, I would love to see that matchup, which could very well be a winner's bracket round 1 matchup, depending on how they fall. So definitely going to be pulling for Vegas at the major because I'm a big I fuck with them, but if it's against Optic, obviously won't be. But anything else to add on this series before we get into the last one of Saturday?
We really need to see Ravens pick it up, and especially Fellow had one of his low kill series, so that's not.
I definitely think he's on the hot seat. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're. I don't know. They're 1-3, so it doesn't look good. But I still think that they can show up on LAN. Excuse me. We know Fellow's a better player on LAN, so hopefully, he proves that again.
It's always the tough thing with Fellow because it seems like when he's on a team, they'll do really bad in online splits, and then they'll have to start in losers. Like, they don't set themselves up well at LAN, so, like, yeah, he's playing better on LAN, but you only get one chance to lose, and then you're out. You know?
Exactly. So, it's a for what? Like, like, we're doing this for what at the end of the day. So, I hope. I mean, I love the Ravens too. Like, I hope they find success. I love all the players on there. So, I mean, it just sucks to see, like, whenever they can't put it all together, and it sucks to see Fellow struggling online. He's had one good series against the Surge. So going into Sunday here, let me get back to completed. Last match of Saturday, we have a crazy one, but for the wrong reasons. We had the two worst teams in the league going up against each other, the Los Angeles Guerrillas against the Seattle Surge. Everyone and their moms predicted LAG to win this match 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, whatever it matters. Seattle come out. I didn't get a chance to watch this one. Seattle come out and 3-0 LAG, which no one had happening. To no surprise, Abuza, highest KD throughout the three maps. But, I mean, wow, LAG, what is going on?
Yeah, man. I got to say, we're pretty new to the analysis game. We've only been doing this for 15 episodes. And I think we tend to jump the gun. Someone performs well for a little bit, and we're like, oh, maybe that's just who he is now. And we give him flowers when we shouldn't have yet. And we should have waited because you've been right all along, Blake.
I've been right all along,
You've been right all along, and Diamond Con has severely regressed since going off the first split. And
how do you go from dropping a 1.1, 1.2 against the subliners and fucking Boston and these top half teams to a 0.75 against the Surge? I mean, he must just be frustrated with the overall team performance, and it has to be getting to him in game because you don't want to be someone who plays to your competition individually. I understand how sometimes teams can play to their competition, but I mean, Diamond Con struggled here, 41-55 through the series. Man, I'm back on Diamond Con sucks.
Yeah, I think never wrong, just early. I think you were just early, and you were right the whole time. And
I'm aches, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Never wrong,
just early. So I think as teams continue to learn the game, and the skill gap gets smaller or bigger in some cases, then LAG's starting to get pushed down the leaderboard a little bit, and teams like Paris and teams like Boston are starting to move up, and it's not looking good. So
yeah, I mean, you can even throw Carolina into that mix. Yeah. They might be 1-3 this split, but they look much more like a team than either of these two do.
Right.
The fact, I mean, no one had hope for Seattle. Yeah, LAG comes out and gets 3-0'd by them. That just speaks to what that camp in LAG is going through. I don't know what's going on through their head. Fame tried his all to will them to a victory here. They were close matches. The control was not, but the first two maps were close. So, I mean, you have that, but it's against Seattle. You got to win these. You can't lose this if you're LAG. So, definitely a big red light blinking above this LAG camp. I think it's a two-person change.
I think both of these teams should be a two-person change.
Yeah, I think Surge needs to be a three-person change. Absolutely.
Surge needs a full overhaul. LAG is starting to get there. If they bow out immediately at Major 2, it's time to actually make a change. But they were talking about it on the flank. Is this org even in position to make moves?
I mean, making a move, as long as the person that as long as you drop who you're replacing and keep this next person on the same payroll, then yeah, you can make these changes.
And they
It's
have a
just
sub,
you're limited.
Flames AR player from
Oh yeah,
Challengers. Yeah,
Flames
I think
4K.
I think
Yeah.
he's their sub.
Okay, well, I mean, that's for LAG.
LAG. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm putting him over Assault right
Yeah.
now. I just think Assault's pace and his gameplay is just not meshing with this team well. He had 7,600 damage, which is
Mhm.
horrible. Like you should be averaging at least, close to 3,000 a map.
Yeah.
Obviously not in S&D, but once it averages out, you should be closing in on
Yeah.
3K
I mean, everyone
damage.
else is AD 700 or higher.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm saying. And if you're a main AR and you're not putting damage down, that is your main job, is to hold a lane, hold a head glitch, and put in damage for your 3 aggressive players to clean up those kills. If
Mhm.
you are the least damage on your team as a slower AR, main AR, whatever you want to call it, there's a glaring problem, because you need to be putting down damage on these people crossing, these
Right.
people rotating, people flooding. Like that is your role. And so I would love to see Assault dropped for Flames at the very least,
Yeah.
or go get an AR player like Lunars
Mhm.
from Challengers, and have him step up to the plate. So I'm with Aches on this take, where he's like, don't wait for the major in hopes that you make a run at
Right.
the major. Like, make this change now. You're gonna get better,
Mhm.
and if you get worse, like,
Yeah.
what's worse than losing to the Seattle Surge?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
I don't understand, but shout out to the Surge. They get their first win on the board in a while, in 3-0 fashion. So, don't I see any chance that they build off of this and just get exponentially better, win the next two, or three, excuse me,
Mhm.
and make winners.
Yeah, no, I don't
So,
either.
that was the last match on Saturday. Anything else to touch on LAG Seattle before we move on to Sunday?
Blow it up.
Blow it up, both of them. Getting into another team that needs to blow it up. The first match, the first match on Sunday was the New York Subliners versus the Miami Heretics. This was the most boring,
Dude.
one-sided, quickest DoorDash match ever.
Yeah.
The Subliners 3-0, Miami Heretics. They fall to 0-5 this split and are just looking bad. The Eric Boom under was the biggest lock of my life.
Yep.
Like, I mean,
5,600 damage.
that is horrendous.
Yeah.
I've gotten that in a search match. Like, come on, bro. Like, that is horrible. And I was watching this game because I really wanted to see if he, like, since I bet on him, is he gonna go crazy? And all of his kills, I bet you 20 of these 31 kills, they were one shot.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he cannot win a gunfight, bro. And obviously, like what I just said speaks to his low damage, but like, that's what I'm saying. It's like he can only get these kills when they're weak. He's not there. This is a Real waiting room.
Yeah. And dude, Metals has been struggling, and I thought that he was kind of like their superstar player, because Split 1, it seemed like every time they were winning, he was going crazy. Like,
no, he's
triple
definitely
kills,
their best player.
Just going nuts. And I feel like this whole split, Metals has just been a shell of himself. Yeah.
Granted,
their team is not performing.
Their team is bad. And when they were winning, he was absolutely their best player.
But even when your team's doing bad, like, superstars still have good statistical series, and he's getting like slammed. Like, look at him, negative 23,
call him a
30.
Superstar.
Well, no, but I mean your best player usually is gonna still be best on the leaderboard, even if you guys are getting
see it
slammed.
with Gwen and Abuza. Like, they're still losing 3-0
because when
with
they
a
were
1
doing
point
good,
something.
like, Lucky was that support dude who was like kind of middle of the pack and on their team, and like, had a decent stat line, maybe a 0.9. And then Metals would have like a 1.15 and like be frying, and now he's like really struggling. Like, it seems like these last few series he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, and the Subliners were just cheesing this whole match, bro. They were trolling. Fucking, they went to a listen-in. Skies was calling Hydra Papi Daddy. Like, they did not give a fuck. Hydra 1.7, Skies 1.5, 1.38, 1.2. Like, it was just an absolute, like, like, this wasn't even close. Like, I got nothing else to say to this. Like, Miami sucks. All right, going on to the next match. Fuck these
New York
Miami. My Vamos Bucks have been sold. Diamond hands.
That train
no more.
Exploded. Ooh, the spiciest series of the weekend.
Yeah, this was. I did not see this coming whatsoever. So we had what we thought was going to be the match of maybe match of the year, contesting Optic Rocker last week. We had Atlanta FaZe versus Toronto Ultra. Definitely a hyped up match. A lot of banter going into this one, but the FaZe take it pretty convincingly 3-0.
Yeah. There's rumors that Ultra came into this with a bit of a trolley mindset, or not necessarily trolley, but like, oh, we're
saving
the best team.
Their best for the major.
Yeah, like let's not show them anything. Let's just play these, maps that we're not the best at. And, I'm sure they were trying. It's not that they weren't trying, but they definitely weren't in a killer mentality to come in here and beat FaZe, I don't think. And I think FaZe was in that mentality. Like, we need to send a message.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there was some, we saw like after the fact some videos came out that Scrap was fucking spinning a fidget spinner on his nose, and Insight was fucking around and shit. So I definitely think it was trolly. They went to a round 11 Rio. That boy Draza had an absolute series, dropping on 1.32, dropping 10 in the search, winning them a couple rounds, winning them that round 11. So dude, definitely
that map could have gone differently if Envoy made the play, like if Draza didn't check smoke. And I think if anyone else was alive, maybe they wouldn't have checked smoke. Like Draza might just know Envoy would do something like that.
It's not. I think it's the fact that Draza was alive, because Draza is like one of the main culprits as to why smokes in other games were GA, because he would throw it at his feet, use it as a one-way, throw it at his feet, play a corner. So like the fact that he was up against Draza is what I think was the more
that's what I'm saying. Like that's why he lost, because Draza probably taught him that.
Yeah, exactly. And Draza had a great series. Celium also had a great series. So if you're FaZe, you're looking at that 3-0. Obviously, let's say that Toronto was trying. They were giving it their all. It's nice to see that Simpin and BZ didn't have to drop a 1 point whatever, and your ARs just took over. Especially, I was about to say with Rio, but it was Search. If Rio Hardpoint was in, then I guess, obviously we'd probably see some better outcomes from Simpin and BZ. But nonetheless, FaZe come out here, stomp them, and I'm eager to see this matchup. If they don't play each other at the major, someone upset someone somewhere. So I'm pretty sure we'll see this matchup again at the major, which I'll be pumped for.
Yeah, no, I got to give it to FaZe, dude. They looked insane on Rio S&D some rounds. Like, it's crazy that they even
moving as a pack.
Yeah, like it's crazy that they even got taken to round 11, and that's just props to Ultra. But dude, if they got a pick first, they held each other's hands the rest of the round. I don't see how they could lose on that map. And
I don't know why it's not done by more people. Like,
it should be now.
It's simple math. Like, it's old COD. It's simple math. And we see these teams struggle to do it and struggle to close out rounds. Optic.
Yeah.
Like even top teams with top talent and good players that struggle to do it. So, it's just like it's a tale as old as time. No matter what you're gonna do it together, and it's gonna be a good play.
Right.
Like it could be 3v2 on terminal S&D, and they're pushing plane, and you decide on defense to pinch their spawn all three together. Yeah, it's a little weird that you're gonna do that to retake plane, but if you do it together, you're most likely gonna win the trades, and it's gonna be a good play. Like when you have numbers advantage, play together, it's the right play, regardless of what the play is, as long as it's together.
Exactly. And FaZe, they said that they had been working on that, and yes, they do it well. It was insane. And they were also really smart, if they had 4 people still, at leaving Draza behind or leaving Celium behind to hold a lane, and then the other 3 would just hold hands and like wrap and get info. And they were breaking ankles. Like they would wrap 3-4 times a map just to try to break ankles and like find an opening.
Yeah, and that's what Rio is evolving into, especially at the highest level. It reminds me a lot of Moscow from Cold War, where if you remember, running down the street on Moscow to that B-bomb site was never like a great play. So like what you would see a lot of times is send one back P3 like Eskies and look at A, send 2 mid and 1 street, and you would get the info, you would push up B street, make them rotate back PD, rotate back up the escalators to A, find them, and then it was just a back and forth game of heads and tails, like finding the openings, and Rio reminds me a lot of that. Obviously not map layout, but just how it's playing out, I see a lot of similarities, and we're going to see a lot of that back and forth, rotating, and then finding your openings for those sites. I think a lot
Yeah,
more.
yeah, and I like it, dude. I think it's fun to watch just as a viewer because you're like, oh snap, they're
Best
rotating. Like,
best map in the game, in
yeah,
my opinion, by
yeah,
far.
for sure. I really like
Um,
Rio.
but yeah, shout out to FaZe 3-0 Toronto. I definitely don't think that they're gonna look at this as like fuck what happened. I think it low key they might be playing that mental game where they're
Hmm.
like, all right, let's just maybe give this to them. That way we have a chip on our shoulder at the major, and we didn't show them all our stuff,
Yeah.
So, but
Now,
anyways,
that being said, though, you you can't give FaZe a series like this, bro. They're just gonna be more confident.
yeah,
Well,
that's
like
true.
especially Draza, he's insane. He is
Yeah,
mentally insane. He will think
yeah,
he's a god now. And you saw the shit talk after the game.
yep.
Um, you know, I'm not gonna repeat
Can't let
what was
him.
said, but they were throwing personals, like bad
Yeah.
personal shots. Why have we not had this rivalry earlier? They're the two biggest trash talkers in the league. Like
Well,
Draza
yeah,
and
I don't
Scrap
know.
should have hated each other earlier than this, but I'm glad we're here now because we got like 5+ years of just pure bad blooded rivalry coming to us now. So this will be fun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, prior to MW2 was Vanguard, and Scrap had just come up to the like he was still in challengers at
Hmm.
that point. So they finally got to meet up against each other in MW2. But then again, Thieves weren't that very good in
Yeah.
MW2, so we weren't seeing a lot of like semifinal or grand final matchups between the two. So this is the game where we're finally getting to really see like where they're both top dogs going at it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see more of it in the future here. But going into the last game of the weekend here ended up being the craziest game of the weekend. We had the Minnesota Rocker going up against the Los Angeles Thieves, and so just to set this up right, if you haven't tuned into the last few episodes, the Thieves have been absolutely struggling,
Yeah.
trying to find their first, second hard point win, trying to win a series, and they find themselves 2-1 after this match, taking down the Rocker 3-2. Now they go up 2-0. They beat them convincingly in the S&D, and then Nate Shot tweets out,
Yeah.
Thieves are up 2-0. There's no way that they could come back from this. There's no reverse sweep
Why
potential.
would
We're
he
the
do
best or
that,
something like
bro?
that.
Why would
And
he
he
do
was
that?
like, everyone said, oh no. And then Rocker rattle off 2. And then Octane said he had to reverse the juju and put on his jersey and his champ's ring to counter that juju. And so the Thieves end up taking him or the Rocker end up taking him to map 5, where the Thieves closed it out 6-3. Pretty convincing S&D wins. And I mean, obviously Rocker have had a tough split, matchup wise. But like they were never like a terrible search team. So like
Yeah.
if you're LA Thieves, like you're like pretty confident in S&D right now.
Yeah, for sure, bro. This is definitely a confidence boosting series for them.
Yeah, and this is where we go back to what we said in the first Rocker matchup. A sleepening.
Yeah.
We need to get him off the roster. He is really bad, and has not been playing up to his potential. When you're getting outslayed by accuracy at every series and almost every map, you're not doing your job. You are like his stigma. His whole CDL career has been he's a kill whore.
Mm-hmm.
Accuracy picks him up. I need you to kill whore. He can't fucking do it. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's not good. And it's been happening so consistently for so long now. Like, if you're Rocker, I'm sure they're all thinking it at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he has the lowest damage in the lobby. The next person above him is Crimp with only 200 more damage. But guess what? He went
has
positive
20
too.
less kills than all of his teammates. Like, and Rocker,
It's just bad.
Rocker plays pretty well together, like as a team. And so
Yeah.
they gotta feel like they're just that close to being in the mix of like that top 5, top 6 area. And to see it slip away, and every time you're looking at the leaderboard, you got Big Wake there with a negative 12, negative 20.
Big sleep.
Yeah, like
A big sleep.
like that's just got to be tough. And
Yeah.
I feel like this major they're probably gonna bow out early.
Yeah. I didn't really get to watch this series that closely. But it's nice to see like Afro having good maps and just having an overall good series. Obviously, we expect it from Ghosty at this point to be positive and lead the way for this team. But it's nice to see Afro and even Crimp stepping up and being able to make plays and win them some maps because I mean if they lose map 1 or map 2, this can go completely different.
Yeah.
So you know and in that map 1 you had Afro top fragging, and the map 2 you had Nasty and Afro combining to win the game. So it's nice to see their maybe lackluster player and their new pickup contribute and bring out a win for this squad. So shout out to the Thieves. They're 2-1. They have potential to make winners bracket. I think they have a couple winnable matches coming up. Let's go ahead and see what matches. So they play Toronto, LAG. Wait, let me
FaZe.
see here.
They got to play FaZe?
Yeah, they play FaZe, Legion, LAG, and Toronto. So they've got 2 more winnable games. So they're, unless some crazy shit happens, they're going to lose to FaZe, they're going to lose to Toronto, but they can absolutely beat LAG and can compete against Legion. Now, Legion have been looking really good, so if I'm going to put money on it, if I had to put a prediction, I'm predicting the Legion, but it is still a winnable series after this Rocker.
Let's say they go 1-3 this split or this stretch, these final 4 games. So that'll make them 3-4. Is that going to be enough? And I think it should be because
I think it should be because of their head-to-heads over
Boston
Rocker.
is 2-2 right now.
Well, you've got Rocker, Carolina, Surge all below them already, and Miami. Sorry, so they're already in the top 8.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it looks
Rocker
like they're battling with Carolina because Rocker and Miami are 0-5. They've locked it.
Yes, and so Surge 1-3. If they win out, obviously they beat. But like, let's be realistic here. They're competing with Carolina. If Carolina take one more loss, then Thieves are almost guaranteed winners bracket.
Yeah, I think so too. So they
really just need to win one more. If they win one more match, they potentially locking themselves in for winner bracket, depending on how Carolina and Surge play. Really, that's it. So. And LAG. I mean, LAG's below them right now, too.
Yeah, and they're 0-3 looking like they're spiraling.
Shit.
So
exactly. So obviously it depends how these other teams close out, but LA Thieves have a real good chance at making winners bracket here, even with only 3 wins. So it'll be interesting.
LAG's remaining schedule is Carolina, New York, Thieves, and then FaZe. So there's 2 L's guaranteed on that right there. Right. So it's looking like Thieves are going to be in the winners bracket, dude. Yeah,
it's looking that's a big win against Rocker for them. It really is. It's one of those that no one thought that they could win. So they really put themselves in a good spot. But before we move on to Rocket League, any final COD statements? Did you want to do any predictions for later this week?
Yeah, we can just run some predictions real quick.
All right. So Friday. First match we have is Optic Texas versus Boston Breach.
I'm going to say Optic 3-1.
Yeah, man. I really hope that they fix their search woes here because they could easily be a 3-0. Breach is a really good hardpoint team.
Yeah, I think
their search. I think it is a 3-1, but I think they take the first hardpoint because they're struggling in search, and I think that Optic is going to take it.
Okay.
So I'm going to say 3-1 Optic as well. Next matchup, we have FaZe versus Thieves. 3-0 FaZe, in my opinion.
Yep.
Got Carolina versus LAG to end it out.
I got Carolina 3-1.
Me too. Yeah. I was going to say that as well. I think the Gorillas take the control, force a game 4, and then lose there because Carolina, I mean, they look good. Still, I mean, they played Optic, obviously, so that's like what's, the taste on our tongue is that Optic match, but I still think they're a competent team, and I got 3-1 over the Gorillas there, which will be a really good win for them to get closer to that winner's bracket. But LAG have a back-to-back going into the Saturday morning. They play the New York Subliners 3-0.
Yeah. Yep. DoorDash.
We got an interesting one here, though. Coming up next, we got Rocker versus Surge.
Yeah, honestly, this is the Rocker bounce back game, and I'm gonna take it Rocker 3-1. Just I'll give Seattle.
I'll give Surge the S&D. Yeah. I'll give Surge the S&D. Yeah, Rocker. I agree. 3-1. Last match is Saturday.
That'll be a Lynn's bounce back too.
I think so too. We got Atlanta FaZe versus Boston Breach. Last game on Saturday.
3-0. No,
3-0.
no.
I'm going
Slasher.
3-0.
I think Slasher gonna bring the troops back. He gonna rally the troops for a map. I'll give him a map.
Okay.
3-1.
I'm sticking with 3-0.
I'll give him 3-1. Slasher revenge game. He got dropped. He got to show up.
They played him though already, so
yeah.
So we got last day of this weekend here, Sunday. We got the Thieves against the Legion here. So this is where I'm going to be a little bit more realistic and not as optimistic for the Thieves. I'm going to go 3-0, dude. I'm going to go 3-0.
I'm going to say 3-2, bro. I think it'll be a good series. Okay. I want a good series.
I think
3-2 Vegas. 3-2 Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I can see the Thieves. They have to win map 1. They have to win map 1. Then I can see it. Next matchup. Ooh, Carolina versus Miami. I'm gonna go 3-2 Ravens here. I feel like. Man, I don't know actually. I'm gonna go 3-1. 3-1 Ravens. I could see it being literally any outcome. Ravens like 3-0, 3-1, 3-2. I could see it all. Like I mean,
I know, dude. I'm gonna say Miami bounce back series 3-1 Miami. Vamos. Eric Boom drops a .89, best series he's ever had.
For the dub, .89.
For the dub.
Our last match of the weekend, they saved the best for last. Boy. Of course, we have Optic Texas going up against Toronto Ultra. Optic have yet to lose, but they've also yet to play any of the top 4 teams, or 3 teams. Well, whatever. So this is going to be a grueler.
I think Toronto used their troll, and they're gonna show up.
Biasedly, I'm gonna say Optic 3-1 because they're not gonna win 2 S&Ds. You got to win all these respawns against Toronto here. So I'm gonna say biasedly Optic 3-1. That is their win condition. If it goes to map 5, they're not winning. At least as of now. Maybe they show some good S&D prowess in their match against Boston, but but realistically, I'm gonna say Toronto 3-1.
Yeah,
is my unbiased. So biased 3-1 Optic, unbiased 3-1 Ultra.
I'm saying 3-1 Ultra.
Okay.
And Optic loses, or Optic takes invasion control. I'm gonna predict the map. They just take invasion control.
You don't think Toronto watched that and was like, we're not gonna play him on invasion? Or do you think, let's fucking square up? Yeah. Let's put these Optic lovers into the dirt.
Nah, I don't know, but after the FaZe series, I think Toronto's gonna come out and play better maps, and they're gonna show up. We're gonna get a big series here.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for our COD segment here, covering the matches, looking at later this week. Let's go ahead and jump into some Rocket League with D Woody.
Alrighty, so we had our 3rd regional for North America this weekend, and this was do or die. There was a lot of teams that were tied or close and within reach of making that 4th spot to make the major. LG had very good chances going into this regional to make that 3rd spot for the major. And then Gen G and G2 pretty much had it locked up. G2 had already clinched. I think Gen G clinched within 30 minutes of this regional starting. So they were going to go regardless. And man, we had a really good weekend. I feel like it was desperation time. So a lot of these teams showed up and nerves were going and teams were bringing their best to the tourney. So Swiss happened. I'm not going to hit on Swiss too long, but there were some crazy games. There were some upsets as well. I know Dignitas, they did not perform to the best of their ability, and that's Arsenal's team. And they ended up bowing out at 10th, just outside of that top 8. Pirates didn't make the top 8 this time. Squishy. Oh, I want to hit on Squishy. It was Squishy's last dance. This was his last tournament of his pro career. And I got some crazy Squishy stats for you. Okay.
Let's hear it.
So Squishy's last dance. He played 19 LANs and was only outside the top 8 once. And that was in 2021 with NRG. So he was always in the mix. I mean, he's been here since like before Flip resetting.
Yeah.
Like he was, yeah. So
he's an OG name.
Yeah, for sure. So it was really cool to see him come out. I mean, they got 0-3'd by G2, of course, and then LG. But they gave Justin a match, took him all the way to Game 5 and won that series. So that was cool to see one more Squishy versus Justin series. And then he almost won against M80. They almost took that series against AJ. And he also had like one of the grossest goals of the weekend where he was on the ceiling in front of the opposing net.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That's his last goal ever, right?
Yeah, and he like jumped off the ceiling, turned his car around, and flipped the ball and like hit the ball in. It was nice.
It was like a ceiling redirect, right? Like that was. I saw that. That was gross.
So it was cool to see Squishy have like one more highlight play on the way out as well. But he will be missed, dude. Competing, yeah, he's pretty much like Scump. Like he's been here since the early days of the esport and was still competing at a high level on his way out.
Love to see it.
He even said in his interview that shot was nice because it tells him that he's still got it and he's going out still good at the game. But he's now a content creator for Rule 1, the organization.
Nice.
And
Sundance?
Yeah, no, not Sundance.
Not Sundance,
Sunless. So that's cool. He'll do great focusing on that. It'll be like Scump. He'll get all the viewers if he's doing watch parties and stuff. Yeah. So that was cool to see. But moving on to what matters, the top 8 bracket. LG, all they had to do was win this series, and they were locked and they were going. But OG, my boy Calm, showed up, and OG was the better team that day and took it 4-2. So this left Reddles and them just praying that Gen G and G2 took care of business and would win their matches. And
they did.
They did, but there were some conversations being had that G2 was trolling a little too hard, because if you look over here, Omelette took them to Game 7. Okay, and Omelette is like hockey, or no, that might be TSM. Hold on. Oh yeah, Lion Blaze.
Oh, it's Lion Blaze.
I knew it was one of the guys that we watched at the CRL
college.
Yeah. So it's like Lion Blaze, Zanil, who's also like a content creator. He's pretty big. And then Percy. So they took them to a Game 7, and Reddles just tweeted LMAO because he thought G2 should have just wiped them and that they were trolling. But G2 took care of business, and then the next day, obviously, they 4-0 TSM. So that eliminated all thoughts of G2 throwing, and LG ended up going to the major. So
nice.
As you can see, Gen G showed up and took care of business. They beat G2 handedly in Swiss, and they beat G2 handedly in the grand finals. So NA is now a 2-team region, and we got some scary teams now. So I'm looking forward to it, bro. Major 1 is at the end of the month. It's going to be a blast. We have the last European regional this weekend, and then we'll see like the full bracket and what it's going to play out like. So, yeah, crazy series.
Before you close out the Rocket League segment, can you please pull up Daniel's goal?
Yeah.
Is this the best goal in
this might be
history?
The craziest thing I've ever seen in RLCS. You thought I was done? Dude.
Yeah. So let me just, for those of you that don't understand, because people will see
talk
this.
us through this.
People will see this and be like, that wasn't even that cool, because like you see someone do a simple ceiling shot or fly through the air and you're like, whoa, dude, that was crazy. He was twirling. But no, this is actually insane.
This is mechanics.
Yeah,
this is
this took so much. So he's driving. Someone's coming on his right. He has to try to dodge the bump from Jack. So I can't rewind the short, but Jack hit the ball and then tried to come bump him. So he had to dodge the bump. His car's backwards. He jumps up, turns around. So he had a backwards takeoff and then pre-flips into an air dribble, catches the ball perfectly, runs out of boost and still gets a flip reset for the goal.
And then flicks it in. Like, that was insane. And let's go ahead and look at the top here. It's 2-2, 15 seconds into overtime.
Yeah.
This is insane. And obviously it's not like, he had to do this to qual or anything like that, but still, as someone who's new, as someone who's new to the esport, that was just insane, and it was being revered by every, knowledgeable Rocket League watcher and analyst and whatever.
Yeah.
We had to include that. So, I mean, That was gross.
Yeah, no, that was insane. He also had a really nice play to end the TSM series where they shot it at the backboard and Daniel jumped up, like hit the ball off the backboard and just air dribbled it all the way across the field, like at the end of the game to win. So he's just been looking super consistent, super mechanical. He's been cleaning up everything. Like he's looking like he's in form right now. So G2 is going to be scary, man. I hope they make some noise and put some respect on North America's name.
Put some respect on NA, baby.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah. Well, appreciate that run through there, Dak. No picking bands for our podcast here today. So to end out our podcast, as I said in the intro here, we have a interview with one of Dak's longtime buddies in the gaming space. His name is Connor, aka Drizzy, who now works collegiately in esports. So we're gonna jump into that interview to end off the podcast, and we'll jump to it now.
All right, what's up, everybody? I am here with a very special guest today. It's our first guest on the Next Wave podcast. He's a true OG gamer. He's my longest friend in gaming. He's involved in college esports at Lindenwood University. He's coached Rocket League. He coaches Valorant, among other things there. My good friend, Connor Drizzy Gage. Everybody, round of applause. Connor, how you doing, man? I'm glad you're here.
Oh, I'm glad to be here, man. You know, I've been a small supporter of the group ever since the start. I tried to, weasel my way in anywhere I could.
Heck yeah.
I was begging Dak from the beginning to put me in the podcast. He name dropped me the first episode.
I did.
And I thought he was just gonna, kind of ring me out, not let me do anything. So finally, my begging worked a little bit, and I got to come on the podcast.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I was looking forward to this interview. I just wanted to get comfortable with Blake doing a podcast for a while and kind of get used to it before we started throwing guests on here, because I didn't want to just be on here like, so you like gaming, huh? So we got some episodes under our belt. But yeah, this is Connor. We met way back in the day on like COD 4 or Halo 3, back in the glory days of 360. What'd you say?
I think it was middle school. I think that's when when I started playing was when I met you.
Yeah.
It's probably like I want to say like 7 or 8 years old, but I feel like that's like pretty low on like the chain.
Yeah. So for me, I got my 360 when I was like in 4th grade. So I was like 9,
I don't
8 or
when
9.
I got mine. It's like I'm gonna do a quick Google search because I gotta tell you, it was Halo. I remember Halo Wars came out when I was huge on it. Halo Wars came out 2009, so I don't know what that would have made me.
Yeah, so that was around the time that I got mine too. But we will get there. First, I want to know, when was like the first time you even picked up a controller and like played a video game? Can you what's your earliest memory gaming?
Dude, well, first off, I don't even have the memories of this. I just know we had one. Our first console was the Nintendo 64.
Okay.
And that's when OG Smash is there, like the Super Mario Bros, like the original Mario 64, and I never forget jumping through the paintings and stomping all the Koopa Troopas.
Yeah.
But then I think the first memory I had was my PlayStation 2. So this is before me and Dak met. I went from the N64 to like a GameCube to the PS2, and
okay, so you took like the right path according to most people.
But then I'm gonna feel like an old ball because the game I remember is Sly Cooper.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever played Sly Cooper.
Oh yeah.
Like Honor Among Thieves. You got Sly the raccoon, the little turtle guy, and then the hippopotamus. And I just remember that so vividly being like the one game I enjoyed the most. And then came the real gamer time when you're like, Sony's not the best.
Yeah.
And then I got the 360, and that's where everything really took a turn. I think it was my first time ever having online because I didn't have online on my PlayStation 2. And parents were like, "Here it is." They got me the Kinect, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever."
Kinect.
I'm out here doing the Just Dance or the Just Dance Central or whatever it is. And then Halo came, and I guess Halo 3. Halo 3 was the first big game, and I think that's where I met you the first time.
Yeah, that's my earliest memory playing with you, was a random custom game lobby playing Halo on Halo.
I don't even think it was I don't even think it was custom games. I think we met during like a Slayer match or something.
Yeah, because back then, my first year having Xbox Live, none of my friends really had it. Like, it was just their older brothers had an Xbox, and they would get on when their older brothers would let them or were gone. And so, like, I would just randomly join lobbies and be like, anybody got a mic? I was a squeaker 9-year-old on the mic. Like, anybody in here? And I would just make friends that way. And I'm pretty sure that's how we met.
Dude, then we moved to we went from.
Back then it was Halo and COD just on rotation, just depending on the day.
It was OG Modern Warfare, so Call of Duty 4, and then World at War came out, and everyone was on World at War because zombies was a big thing. Dude, we pretty much jumped from everything at that point. I think we didn't. We started playing GBs around.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to get into, bro, because you have been like heavily involved in the community for a long time. Like back then, like you got me into game battles. You were watching sniper montages, got me into like Zergriz and like the OG snipers, bro. And I want to talk about that for a little bit because that was a fun era. And then you were also like new people in Justin TV like that would stream and stuff before Twitch was even Twitch, bro. So like you were really
we met so many people, man.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
It was back when like the lobbies, like it's whenever you would like fanboy whenever you saw someone, or like I'll never forget Zergriz came out with like this ridiculous montage on like ambush or something. And the dude's hitting like the crazy like jump spots on the car and like doing his like no scope, like the ACOG on the M40. And I was like, man.
Yeah. So we had a YouTube account, and this was like our first clan. So back in the day, everyone was XX, whatever their clan name was, and then their gamer tag. Super sweaty, try-hard names. And me and Connor started playing, Halo 3 and COD and stuff, and we were like, bro, we should start our own clan. And at the time, were you in Neon before like everything else, or did that come later?
So the progression was OG name. My OG name was Ahablo Mangato.
Ahablo Mangato.
So people used to call me Ahab growing up. And then we got into the Call of Duty stuff, and like that's, again, you said trick shots were all big, and that's where it all kind of came. And everyone's like, we gotta make this clan, and like we gotta do this, and this. This is how you get the identity. And like I remember you were in SODMG for a while.
Yeah, dude, I don't know how legit that was.
Because
I met some random dude. Yeah, I have no idea how legit that joining a clan was, but
And then we had so many. Like I remember Neon was the thing that me and you started, I'm pretty sure. And then like I had a clan called LG, which I didn't know if you joined.
I think that was like my first like real gamer tag switch. I was LGX Demon.
And then we had BBA. BBA was the probably most goated one I remember.
Yeah, that was probably our longest tenured clan. The rest were like a month, and then we'd switch names again.
Pretty much when Microsoft points were expendable.
Yeah, exactly.
We never really thought about it. But now, like, I can't remember who we played GBs with. But like, then I kind of went on my own on GBs after we did it for a little bit, because like I was way into the competitive scene.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of where like everything started now, and it's just like I remember when small amounts of money, like that's when GBs was like the only thing. GBs and MLG, and MLG fell pretty far down the totem, but like GBs was like the way to go for the longest time. Like if you were anybody in the COD community, like GBs where it started.
Right.
Rest in peace, GBs.
Yeah. R.I.P. man.
But like it was like the first legit thing. I was like, oh my god, like this is where you can make a career out of it.
Yeah. So that's kind of where it started for you, was back in like MW2 days. People were playing GBs, sniping.
Probably MW2. It was definitely MW2, and then like Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, I think is where I took everything kind of more like the heart and played a little bit more. Definitely Modern Warfare 2. That was probably the one like I clocked, probably 70 days on the game. I think that was the most competitive game I like put my heart and soul into.
Yeah, for sure. So back then, that at that point, like playing MW2, being involved in clans and like GBs and watching content all the time, was that the point for you, like where you were like, I want to do this for my life, just be in the gaming space as a career, or was that not a goal at the time and you were just kind of enjoying everything and it was like a hobby?
Yeah, so I mean, I think at the time it was more just a hobby because I mean, I don't know about you, but like my parents were very active in my life about like education and this, and this of like you can never make gaming a career. Like you can sit down on the Xbox for hours on end, but like what are you doing? Like what can you make? Like you're just gonna flip burgers your whole life. Like, and that's a quote from my mom, so I hope my mom watches.
Dude, I've had that exact speech. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like I don't know. I think once I realized that was kind of the case and I couldn't make the career because it was very small and like there's very few people. I'm gonna shout out someone real quick. The only person I know who made a good living out of GBs was Matt Potoff. His name is Burns.
Oh yeah,
that was his He was an E United guy for a little bit. He was the only one I knew that really made it big and hit the grind. He was one of the few that could.
Dude, that's crazy, bro. Burns is a legend in COD.
Yes, he was the guy.
Wow.
And that's a story for later or down the line. We'll kind of get to it. I'll kind of talk about how I met him through work. But like, yeah, it was never a reality. Like, I don't think the space was so niche growing up for like us probably. Where like if you're not streaming, you're not doing YouTube, you just don't have those connections to like any of those. I mean, Optic was huge whenever we were growing up. FaZe was huge when we were growing up, and like they just had the pieces. But like, if you weren't there. Like it's almost like trying to go to the NBA or the MLB. Like if you're not like a god tier talent, and not to say that like we were even close. Like, I felt a little closer than some people. But like GBs was as far as you can go.
Right.
And like if you weren't willing to like drop everything you were doing and know like at that time, first off, you're not going to college. Like there was no point.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the space there, I probably wasn't even looking to go pro. I was just having fun winning my small amounts of money during GBs, and like, local tournaments or whatever you want to consider it.
Okay. Yeah. No, what an era though, dude. Like it was a different time because, I was into it too. I mean, we played all the time. We would watch stuff all the time, and it never really crossed my mind that like there was a career path out of it down the line, so at the time for me it was also just something fun that we were just doing, and I love doing that in my free time. So when did it kind of hit you that maybe esports or gaming could be something that you could end up doing?
Man, so honestly it didn't hit until probably after my undergrad. Whenever I got into my master's degree at Lindenwood is kind of where everything started, because like obviously like it still felt really small when I was in undergrad. So I mean I started undergrad probably in 2015 to 2019 when I was in undergrad, and like the space was still even small then. Like pro scene was still going. You had your colleges who were like offering stuff, but like it was very niche, and like obviously I was so far out of the game then. Like I look at gaming because you don't really lose skill, but like you kind of lose like the passion at some point. Where like instead of being competitive, is like I'm playing with my friends. Like we enjoy our little Saturday night gaming sessions.
Right.
And so it's like no, it wasn't there. And then I got to Lindenwood and I did my my master's project. Or my master's thesis project on like esports and exercise, about how esports can influence, or exercise influences esports performance. So like what happens if you cycle for 20 minutes before like a mock esports tournament in Rocket League at like a pretty moderate intensity. Like how does that help? And then like that just opened the doors. So like it got me into my coaching at Lindenwood, so I met people through that, just like recruiting participants for there. I met Burns, our Call of Duty legend. I met him just as a casual conversation, and he's like, "Hey, my name is Matt, and I do this." And I'm looking at this guy's profile picture, and I hope he hears this because this is still the funniest thing in my mind. I'm looking at the profile picture, and it's like a guy holding up a trophy and the United jersey, and I'm like, "This guy's a fanboy." I was like, who could this guy be idolizing?
Yeah.
And then, I meet up with this guy because he was local to around Lindenwood, and I was like, oh my God, like this dude is the general manager at United and Call of Duty legend Burns.
That's so crazy.
And it was a crazy space, and he just kind of opened up the doors to like what I could like potentially do.
Yeah.
Like here's this contact. So I met at the time Optic Raw Greg.
Oh yeah.
So I had some connections with him. And then again, just like the collegiate esports scene is kind of what I moved into.
Yeah.
And then I continue that. So like I double as an esports coach for Valorant and Rocket League right now. Mostly Valorant because I'm in an unpaid position, so I do everything out of the goodness of my heart.
Yeah.
And I love my teams.
Just working for passion.
Working for passion.
Yes,
so
sir.
like my evenings are filled with coaching, and then I kind of during the week I work in the exercise and performance nutrition lab. So I kind of work with a traditional what we call T sports, so your traditional sports. Work with that population.
And esports, I love it.
And then I work with esports. So I work in the Esports Performance and Innovation Center in Lindenwood.
Okay.
Do esports research where I am trying to take the glory of what I did as a gamer growing up and actually help in the community with some stuff with how to better themselves, health and wellness wise, whether it's some supplement stuff like do you take caffeine before esports, and it's kind of some smaller things, trying to help that population because obviously I think it's very unguided and very confusing at times where like if you're in that space now, there's a lot happening. Like you can literally get full ride scholarships going into this space now. And it's like, dude, that was never a thing when I was there. Like I had kids off like full rides, like making $19K to go to school.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy, isn't it? I mean, that never crossed my mind as a possibility back in the day.
Yeah, and like I don't know about like I know were you playing at Arkansas?
Yeah, so the first year I coached and just kind of managed the team and set up all their scrims and stuff, and then just kind of made sure that they were doing everything right in hardpoint. And then next year we didn't have enough players. Like COVID happened, and so some people ended up leaving Arkansas on our team and just like going to another school online, and it was just hard to get recruits, so I ended up playing with no competitive experience outside of my GBs and COD 4 1 year.
Dude, that's all that matters. Like I tried to petition at Lindenwood to get a COD team because I was like, I miss it. Yeah. I was like, it's fun playing ranked, but I'm not a controller demon anymore.
Yeah.
So I was keyboard and mouse when MW3 came out because that's where I was trying to hit it hard in the beginning. I was like, dude, like I haven't touched a controller in ages, and I don't want to start again.
Yeah.
I try to be a keyboard and mouse demon, and the aim assist, it hits different.
Right.
And, but no, like I wanted so bad because it's like that was my niche, and like what I was like, dude, like we literally like new spawns like all the time in all the games we played, and it's like like go to shipment, like he's gonna spawn at point A, then point B, and then C, and like you just pop up a sniper, and you're just boom, boom,
just
boom,
hitting wall bangs, reading spawns.
Yeah, and now it's just like they put a whole different demon in the game, and I'm just I'm so far out of it. I still have the nice competitive edge, but it's like, do I want to sweat for 20 minutes or do I want to just like have the good old talks with the bros and really enjoy my time?
Exactly. So, yeah. Now this new COD with all the new engine and movement and stuff, it has created some demons across the general public. It's not as easy as it once was to just hop on and pub stomp.
Man. Put me on the solo campaign games, and I'll have my time there where there's no competitive edge.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I wanted to circle back. You were talking about how exercise can affect performance in esports, and it's something that I feel like needs to be talked about more because it's big in the Rocket League community. I've noticed. A lot of Rocket League pros like to preach on, going for a jog before you compete or play for the day, and how that can kind of, affect your performance positively, especially if you're doing it routinely and you're disciplined with it. It's shown them that it can give you better results. And a lot of teams have people in their orgs now that are, keeping players accountable and stuff like that. So that sounds like your work kind of ties in with that side of things.
And I mean, there's like plenty of people I know, and so like there's a guy, I'm gonna butcher his last name. His name is Nico Bezbombs, and
that's a cool name.
So he's a French researcher. I hope he's French. I don't want to butcher that, but he is part of this thing called the Esports Research Network, and he made a big like. I want to call it like a pictogram, but like, big circle in the middle, connect all these like family tree type things and like all the careers in esports. And so kind of on my side, it's like, we got like our research staff, we have our exercise physiologist of like how, again, exercise influences the body. And then it's like, you got your nutritionist. You look at these pro teams, and you got pro teams who are pro chefs to come in and literally like feed their people these nutrients that they're going to be using, and like properly like teach them, like whether it's, hygiene, whether it's, the nutrition standpoint, like get your recommended exercise. And like you're all seeing the influences. Like there's papers saying go for a 6-minute walk in between matches, and like you're going to boost your performance.
Right.
And like I always tell people, like the simplest thing you got to think, like, is it going to help me? Well, one, if you're exercising, you're getting blood flowing in your body. And what does that mean? You're getting more blood to the brain. Boom. It's that easy.
Yep.
If you're getting more blood to the brain, you're getting, the best benefit there is. And so I think it's just such a negative connotation for people in the community that they're just like, I don't want to say hermits, but like it's the hermit that like, I don't want to do anything. I can sit here and do this. And like, I don't think it's an issue in our community, where like we care that you're like super skinny, or like if you're super big, you need to slim down. Like I don't think that's an issue, but we want to move towards a more healthy population.
Right.
Because like there is stuff. Like I think the biggest thing I was taught is like esports is like Formula One. Like athletes is like we're really based on like cognitive ability. Like don't think about the race cars, because like obviously like we're not racing. We don't need that kind of physical endurance.
Right.
But like the whole sport is based on,
like decision making,
the quick reaction time is like that's where you really have to hone in. And there's so much. Each game makes you think about different things. Like Rocket League is so different than Call of Duty, because you need the spatial awareness to know where your car is at in space, versus the accuracy and like the reaction time to like flick towards other people. It's just like there's so much different stuff.
No, it's crazy how just exercise and hold on.
I just turned my light on. Don't worry about me, dude. It's dark in here.
I know. It got dark out of nowhere.
I know.
But no, yeah, it's crazy how exercise can influence your performance, because there's been times in the last like year and a half I've really been grinding, trying to hit Grand Champ in Rocket League, and I'll have weeks where I'm just like don't have groceries, so I'll just be eating out every day and staying up too late and not going to the gym, and my rank will plummet. And then I'll have a good week where I'm on top of everything and like sleeping better and going to the gym and stuff, and I feel like I'm playing 10 times better. So it's something that people I feel like are starting to wake up to in esports. I know also Toronto Ultra in Call of Duty. Toronto Ultra apparently is really big on like stretching and certain exercises to just open up your mind, get the blood flowing. And look at them. I mean, they're the number one team in the world in COD right now. So
and that's all it takes, man. It's just you see one person do it, and it's like the trickle down effect.
Exactly.
And I think right now, and like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just from my space that I see and just kind of who I know. But literally, like college is the most like is like the top league at this point.
Yeah.
Like I literally see players leave, and like this all starts at college. Is like, where do you get the buy-in that like, obviously it's a little hard to secure funding at universities and be like, this is our thing, because Ohio State's never gonna be like esports is the top thing. Like it's always gonna be football.
Yeah.
But like in my opinion, like I think everything starts at the college level now. Like pros can have their own scene, like that's great if you can get if you can get there. But like literally, like these guys leaving teams are coming down. And so like if you want to put in and you want to have successful teams at this point, it's like put in towards all you can. Like talk to your like sports, director and be like, hey, like let's get access to the weight room, or like let's put in. Obviously now the spectrum is newbie weightlifter or newbie exerciser to like I have guys in my teams who are like Olympic weightlifters.
Yeah.
You have a whole spectrum where like where do you even start?
Yeah.
And I think that's the toughest thing of like, pros got it secured. Like, let's just go hire like a fitness trainer. High schools, it's never going to happen.
Nah.
And then college is the next best thing, where it's just like, you got to have buy-in somewhere. And like, that's where I'm coming in, is like, I work at this, research side, but like I have all the knowledge from my master's, like to teach people, proper nutrition. Obviously I can't prescribe stuff because I don't have a degree for that, but like I know the exercising, I know, what you need to do, and the research tells me this. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow this, like we follow, the research. And like that's been my approach as a coach. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow this, like we follow, the research. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow this, like we follow, the research. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow this, like we follow, the research. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow this, like we follow, the research. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow this, like we follow, the research. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow this, like we follow, the research. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow this, like we follow, the research. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow this, like we follow, the research. And like that's been my approach as a coach for like my teams, is like you follow proper sleep schedule, proper hydration. And like, not that I'm going to nick a player for like doing anything bad, but it's like, this is like the bare minimum you should do.
Yeah.
And like you'll feel better. Like, don't drink soda.
Yeah.
Like, try to substitute with water, and like you're going to feel so much better. And like they do. Like, it's literally like, not to toot my own horn, but like my team buys into it, and like they're like, you were right.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Small steps to like break down like that mental barrier that they've always been taught.
Mm-hmm.
And like, then boom, you have like a team that's at least functioning a little better than they were.
Right.
So
yeah, so it's just kind of like here's the blueprint, if you follow it, you'll have better results type of thing, and good on you for getting them bought in, because I feel like sometimes it is hard to get players bought in on things like that. Like, I'm sure they just want to hop on the game and grind. I know back in my day, that's all my team wanted to do. So if I was like, hey guys, did you exercise today? They'd be like, dude, shut up.
Hey, no, and that's one. So like, on a different topic, back on the esports coaching, is like teaching teams how to like properly train. Like, what does a practice look like? So like my Valorant team, we have like a 3-hour time slot for practice. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Wednesdays are like our league that we play in. So like pretty much Monday, Fridays are the practice days.
Mm-hmm.
And like they just want to cue and screen. And like I bought into it at first because like I'm still like trying to figure out how to coach something, because going from Call of Duty to now Valorant, it's a whole different game.
Right.
Like, there's so much difference in it. Still first person shooter, so you kind of get like the tactic of it, but it's like, like,
which
how do
you have a little S&D background though, so you have some game sense going into Valorant at least.
But teaching people one tap headshots and like how to hold angles, like, and abilities, like it's a whole different beast.
Mm-hmm.
But like then it's like breaking down like how do you really practice, like, and I'm gonna shout out my professor PD Mumford. He's the one that he's a Diablo guy. Okay. Always been a Diablo guy, but he gave me like the esports like talk of like never being involved.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, how do you do it? Like, do you just queue for 4 hours or for 3 hours and that's how you play? Because like you'll never win.
Yeah.
And then it's like, he always told me is like, the way you should do it is you have your first 30 minutes is aim training. I'm sure a bunch of pro teams, this is how they go. And like, they all have everything unlocked, so no one's ever going to talk about it. And so like you literally have to fight for your own to figure out what's going on. But 30 minutes of aim training, maybe like an hour of like actual like skill work, so like game mechanic work. So like go practice your agent, go practice lineups, try things you never tried.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, better it's probably in Rocket League. Let's talk about that. Is like, you go do your little drills. So you go do your ring drill, and like that's teaching your aerials, and you keep practicing that for probably like an hour.
Right.
Okay? And then you can queue, because then you just worked on all the skills you need to do it.
Exactly.
Like your rank doesn't matter. I always tell guys this is like, flip back to Valorant, is like anyone could be a Radiant. Like what makes the difference is like, the time and effort you're putting in.
Right.
Your rank is an arbitrary thing that just says, ooh, I'm a Radiant. Like there's nothing else other than getting your name on a fancy scoreboard.
Yeah.
Like you could play unrated every day. You can play deathmatch every day and literally get to the skill level of Radiant, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like if you're really putting in the practice time and you're really working on the mechanics, like who says you can't be Radiant? Like I don't care.
Exactly.
And like I've always preached that to all my guys is like they like collapse under pressure whenever like they go on our like we play in Nace. And they look at the Nace thing and they're like, oh, a full team of Radiants. Like, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
Like, guys, like, it literally takes one thing. Like, Lindenwood could go play Ohio State in football and possibly win. Like, you're just stacking the odds because you truly believe you're going to lose. And, there you go. Then the whole team buys in and then practices, this methodical thing that, like, we all hashed out, agreed on. And then you see the performance increases because you're working on those bare bone mechanics that are just so simple.
Right. And
so,
you talked about mindset going into a game. That's huge. That is almost everything in esports.
And I think you see it all the time. And like, I don't know if pros are like this, where they're like,
they can be for sure. You can tell when a pro team goes into a match thinking that they're already going to lose.
Yeah. And it's so sad because like, and these pro teams have sports psychologists. So people are like, go meditate, just take a breather. but like we don't get that in like college, and like it literally it falls on me as a coach to have those discussions. And obviously, for me, I double dip, so like I know a little bit of everything about what I need to for these teams. But like go talk to my Overwatch coach, and like he comes to me for advice, and like it's not that I don't love giving advice, because I think it's important for like this space to be open, because like it is so niche. But like I want to educate people to understand that like esports is very different from anything else you're ever going to experience.
Right.
We can pick and choose things from like Rocket League's like soccer. Okay, let's get a soccer coach in here because maybe he's able like to like pull these small things to do. Valorant, it's only probably applicable to FPS games, but like you take one FPS game, it's just like the other one. Valorant's just a one tap headshot versus, the time to kill and, Call of Duty takes, 5-6 bullets. And like you just start picking and choosing, and then everyone starts to understand it. But like, yeah, the sports psych is the toughest, because like to get someone out of a rut where they're like, either they're burnt out on the game, or like, you just get the floor wiped with you, and you're like, how do you bounce back?
Exactly.
How do you get these college kids who are getting education, and maybe esports is on the back burner for them, and they're not on scholarship, and they don't understand why they're there, versus my full ride guys who are like, oh, I love it, like let's keep it up, and getting teammates to jump in and help me a little bit's always been a huge issue, because it's like it takes the whole team to pull a boat. I'm not pulling it on my own. And so
exactly.
It's been fun to get the buy-in from everybody.
But it really is crazy how, as esports develops, across all levels of esports, people are starting to recognize how important it is to coach, good mindset and good physical health as well, and how that can affect the outcome of games. Because I feel like the longer it goes on, the smaller the skill gap is going to get between players, and that's where players can get an edge and really set the gap between them and their competition. So it's crazy how much the college landscape has changed just since I've been in it.
It's wild.
Yeah, like, I mean, you guys sound official at Lindenwood. Ours was not near as robust, and we didn't have it. It was all student led at Arkansas.
So I like to call it the process. We're still there. So like we haven't dwindled down to like our niche games where we know we're really good at. I think we got a good roster across Valorant, across Overwatch. Rocket League still tough. If you're not mechanically there, team's kind of washed. I hate to say that, but I mean that's just how the game is. But yeah, like the landscape is ever changing, and there's no rules. Like,
I know.
We don't have the NCAA. Like I literally, like we were looking at some the other day, where like Maryville is like the top school in all of esports, and like they're poaching players from each other. These top 10 schools are like, hey, I want to go here. Tommy's over here playing. He told me I should join the roster, and they just leave.
Right.
And there's no stopping it. There's no red shirt. There's no like you sit out for the semester. Like it's just such an open space, and it's like
it's crazy.
I can't wait for a governing body to come in and like settle down college. But it's got to be the right person, like, or the right organization.
Exactly.
I don't think it could be an NCAA. And I don't know. Like it'd be fun to be like the person who makes it, but there's so many leagues, and there's this league who offers this and these rule sets, and there's never going to be an agreement. I don't think there's ever going to be a landscape where we can get an overarching body. Maybe until the Olympics. Maybe the Olympics finally puts us on it, and we get some fun games to see there.
Yeah. I think it is going to be a long time, if there ever is a day where college esports is all ran by, one entity, and it's, hopefully someone who has been in esports before and kind of knows the landscape, knows the community, and knows what would be best for it. But I think
it's the most stable too.
Yeah.
Like I think pros are still trying to figure it out. Like I always tell people, like pros is like cryptocurrency in my opinion. Like it's backed by the people. There's no Roger. There's no Roger Goodell funding the whole league.
Exactly.
Like it's these teams literally have like kickstarted money, for lack of a better word, and they're just like sufficing, like Sentinels.
Yeah.
I know you saw that where they're like, we have, enough money to last 3 months.
And they were asking for like donations, technically, for people to invest.
Yeah, and it's just such a wild space until something comes up where we're able to, sustain and support and grow together as a community. And I mean, it's all over the world. Like, I don't think there's anything like you got America, South America, Asia, like all these places are buying in, and like you have the older people. Like I just saw the 70-year-old Valorant roster in Korea playing, and like it's
insane.
It's crazy how far like the community has come from like us just being newbie gamers of like the casualness and like I just like being out talking to friends. To now we're at this incredible space where we're all inclusive. We're able to give these people money, and we're able to have the pro rosters, and we're able just to to intertwine, and like it really feels like the coolest community to be a part of.
Yeah.
Whether you're a spectator, whether you're, like us being able to talk about podcasts and like talk about the space that we've experienced.
Right.
I think it's just fun in general, whether, no matter where you come from. The esports space is so welcoming. There's some bad moments, there's still some toxicity in it, but like, get past the toxicity and like, then there's us. Like we literally are best friends. We met each other after gaming for 10 plus years. We got to meet each other in real life, and it just
it's crazy.
It's never going to end. You're always going to have this kind of space where it's all inclusive, and it's going to keep growing. I think, and I think it's going slowly in the right direction. And again, like what we said, the jobs are going to be there. Like there's so many avenues to get involved. And I just love it. Like it'll forever be, I think, one of my favorite things when I go to the grave is I was able to be a part of one of the top tier communities in my opinion.
It really is awesome. It is awesome, and it's cool for us to have lived through like the early days of YouTube and watching esports grow and just gaming as an entertainment body grow, and to go from there to where we're at today is crazy. And I think people are still trying to figure it out at every level, what is the most sustainable way to keep this thing going. But at the end of the day, it will always have demand. It will always have people who are passionate about esports, about video games, and we'll always be here with passion, and one day it will be figured out, and it'll be a lot more sustainable as a career and just as entertainment for people who love it. So it's awesome to be a part of, for sure. It's really cool to see what you guys are doing at Lindenwood and how in depth you guys are starting to get as far as performance goes for your teams, because we had none of that at Arkansas. It was all just pure passion, student led. I mean, I never talked to a single employee of Arkansas. Whenever we made our COD team, I just went to the student president of the esports club and was like, hey, this is me, this is Blake, we love COD, we want to make a team. And he was like, all right, cool. Put flyers up. And that was that.
And I think that's the cool thing is like the buy-in that like, I work in exercise science, and like I have professors who have never heard of, esports, or like, they just don't know. And they're like, well, why not get involved? Like they see the need for some of those, like to pick me up and like to be able to help, because again, like I said, like the competitiveness and where it's going is like they don't know what's going on. Like they're like freshmen in college who are like still like such babies to the world,
right?
Of like you just don't think about it. And so like it's been fun to like spread the joy. And spread the curiosity of a new group of people who from a research side are very under researched, and like we don't know what to tell them,
right?
So like it's been a very, very fun experience to share that passion with those guys. So
heck yeah, man. Well, that's awesome. Do you see yourself staying in collegiate esports for a long time, or is there something down the road that you're just like passionate about, maybe when you're done with college esports in the future? What are your plans going forward?
Man, so I currently love what I'm doing. Like especially the research side. I think that's really fun, but it's still very niche. I mean, everything's at that point in esports still. I've fumbled around thinking about it. I looked at some jobs working for an esports team as like a performance coach, but I still have a lot to kind of bolster underneath my resume to kind of say that. So that was always tough. But I really don't know, man. Like, I think I want to keep coaching, just because it's been a fun learning experience.
Yeah.
Honestly, from just being a player, like, or I guess a player coach whenever we competed, because like we never had that, to now like coaching a full on team where like it's again the most competitive area.
Yeah.
It's hard because again, like I'm unpaid in my position, so like I'm slowly building up this nice resume that like I've been at Lindenwood for 4 years now. I've coached 3 of those years.
Yeah.
So like it's there, but it's like, where do you move? None of the pro teams really have big roster changes, and the people who are, becoming coaches or past players in the leagues.
Right.
And so I think again, like there's so many schools bolstering up in college, but the pay's not there.
Yeah.
Like they're literally paying esports directors, the bare minimum for doing jobs like an athletic director does.
Right.
And until that changes, I don't think like esports is a sustainable job unless you're at the pro, the pro level, or you're a student who's able to get the scholarships.
Right.
And so, I mean, I'm teeter-tottering. I'm sticking with the research because, again, it bolsters it if, like, a position opens up and I'm able to go be a performance coach. But, I mean, I'm back to square one where, mother said you're going to be flipping burgers and you can't make passes. But it's, it's slowly getting there. It's just going to take a few years, I think, until, like, the universities can buy into it and want to dump a little bit more money in.
Right.
And unless you're one of those, what they call super conference schools, I don't think the space is going to be there for smaller programs.
Yeah.
They'll dump the money in to make the cool little esports labs and arenas. But past that, I don't think we're going to go towards paying coaching staff unless you're a super conference and you've been there for a while.
Right. But yeah, no, I agree with you. It may not be there yet, but just the rate at which it's grown since like 2015 even is crazy. So, I think it'll just keep on changing, keep on evolving over the years, and more pathways will open up for sure. But yeah, man, I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to hit on as far as like Lindenwood and what your role goes? Because if not, then I was just down to reminisce about some of the 360 days because we skipped over some things.
I have my notepad up for it.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go back. So Lindenwood's got all my credit. Love Lindenwood. Thank you guys for everything they've done for me.
Shout out Lindenwood.
I'm gonna keep appreciating them. But to the 360 days, I got to reminisce a little bit. I'm gonna go back to my favorite memory I've ever done in the esports realm. I call it the gaming realm.
Yeah, gaming.
We were competitive with this.
Right.
Take me back to Halo 3 whenever we're going to the campaign. And so it was me, Dak, and I can't remember who else it was. We had 2 other friends in this. And this, if no one knows anything about Halo 3, you get these skull modifiers where it makes it a little bit harder to do the campaign system. And so one of them is if you die, you're restarted the checkpoint. Whatever the last checkpoint you hit is. And so this is like an all-nighter on like a Saturday. And we're sitting here and, little Connor's tired. And so it's been too long. And I fall asleep while we're doing this campaign. And I wake up because, everyone's screaming in my ear. I'm like, Connor, wake up! Connor, what are you doing? And I finally get up. And, the campaign's all finished. These guys ran through a legendary campaign, pushing my body through to every checkpoint on like the Warthog or like the Mongoose. They just pushing it. And they finished this whole campaign. And like, bear in mind, we're probably 5% into the campaign. And these guys are legends. Shout out to the other 2 people who I'm forgetting your name.
Yeah, I forget who we played that with.
Dak's the GOAT for pushing me all the way through the campaign to give me this 100% achievement on Halo. Because I think it was the last thing I needed.
Yeah.
Until I got Recon Armored.
Yeah.
Which again, if you guys don't know,
I think it was for the katana. We were trying to get the katana. Yeah, because I don't think I got Recon. I got Recon.
Yeah. I bolster myself to get that.
Yeah, dude, the Vidmaster challenges, bro. What a time. That is such a cool thing in gaming that I haven't seen since. Like, just random, really hard achievements that give you, like, the sickest armor in the game.
I think being an achievement hunter has definitely changed. I think back in the day, like, you're talking, hours on hours to get this. Like, in my opinion, going to a completely different thing that I think should be an achievement is they do, like, the no-hit runs. Like, I literally watch people do, like, no-hit Elden Ring and, no-hit Demon Souls. Like, give me some, like, hard stuff where, like, I'm really sitting here grinding for, like, 14 hours in my chair.
Yeah.
With some exercise in between so I can perform better.
Of course. Gotta take like, those 6-minute walks.
Give me a little bit of, some, if I don't want to be the competitive gamer, give me something to work for.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think they're all too easy these days. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think some of them are too easy.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will comment something like, you haven't played this game then.
Yeah, give me the Twitter fingers like, you never played Banjo and Kazooie where Kazooie had... it's but give me some of that. Like that'd be nice. I want to go back to the old days.
Yeah, dude. Oh my goodness, that is one of the funniest memories. You were just knocked out of sleep, and we were just pushing your body checkpoint to checkpoint.
Yeah, man, I'm just drooling on the pillow, and these guys are,
Mic on, bro. Mic was on. We could hear you snore like every once in a while. It would just pick up a quick snore. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm trying to think. I just remember a lot of custom games. Halo 3, like that is still one of the most fun eras of gaming in my life ever.
That's probably like, dude, I'd have to get on, old 360 to see it, but you're talking probably 5,000 custom games.
Yeah.
Like over competitive. Like I competitive was like a second thought.
No, like, I was never like a competitive Halo. Yeah, I would just grind legendary campaigns and try to play like Firefight on ODST and get that Vidmaster.
Duck Hunt was huge.
Bro. Duck Hunt was fun.
Or like to be non-PC little fat kid.
Yo, yeah.
That was a big one.
Yeah, that was a good game. I'm trying to think. Man, Halo on Halo, where you are in the mongoose and someone's in the middle with like a sniper and a rocket launcher trying to.
And you're going over top of the obstacle course.
Dude. Yeah, that one was fun. Remember Cops and Robbers and like Teacher? It was like role playing before role playing was even a term, really. Like everyone would just play those. Dude, there was always drama back in the day. Like,
no doubt.
Like we'd be in a clan for 2 weeks and then we'd argue over nothing. It was probably like just playing bad in a game, or we 1v1 and just talk crap to each other. And we would instantly just switch clans and form a new one.
And the hilarious thing is, it was probably everyone who like we hated at the time and I had to scuffle with, it then joined that next clan.
Yeah, exactly.
And you make up in like 2 minutes, and then you're like, oh hey, I spent $20 instead of being a BBA, we joined LG, this top tier clan, and like we've been trick shotting for years.
Yeah,
and it was probably the funnest space ever, because like it literally like no care in the world.
Yeah,
like I just saw the Instagram tag where it's like a time when I was happy.
Exactly.
I'm happy now, but like that was
like pure joy.
Yeah, you had no obligation. You're in like middle school, like you do your work after school, and then boom, you got like 8 hours to grind out these campaigns.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was just so funny because BBA was like our longest clan. I feel like where I remember everyone from that clan, like we would always hang out and play, but I feel like there was multiple times when we left and came back. So I probably spent like $60 just changing my gamer tag from BBA back to whatever. But I remember one time I got mad at Austin, was his name. He was like our clan leader, and I got mad at him, and you and me were on the same side of the argument. So like we both left, and then I changed my name to BBAX Austin Sucks.
It puts $20 was disposable, man.
Yeah, like, and I joined their party, bro. And I just remember they were so mad. And then, eventually we made up and we're back in the clan. But oh my goodness, dude, those days were so funny. It's just funny to think that we were like 10 years old, 12 years old, just like making clans and changing clans and just going through all that, bro. It was so funny.
And that was before I knew how to like stream. So like this is like old consoles, bear in mind, like all you can have is a little Elgato capture card.
The Dazzle.
I didn't know, Bedazzled too, but I didn't know anything about it.
No,
like
I didn't
that
either.
was way too techie for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm over here with my webcam, and I'm like flipping my webcam around to like record my like TV. Like you could go back, and I'm not gonna link it, and I hope Dak doesn't link it. But like one of the old school like YouTubes I had for Neon. But that's what I used to do. Like I never knew like what to do, and so I'm just like flipping this like 60p webcam around, and I'm like, oh, it's LGX like Arsenal here, and this is what's going down. I got 64 days in the game, and I got every achievement and every calling card, and it was a different time back then. And like again, dude, like it brings back so many good memories to like actually get to reminisce, because dude, probably half the people we played with, like I don't even talk to anymore.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's crazy.
Like you're probably the only one I've consistently kept up with.
Yeah.
Like, of course, that's because we got to meet in real life, but it's like everyone else, like I follow some on Facebook because like Facebook was like the big thing back then.
Mm-hmm.
But like I never speak a word to them.
Yeah, no, I haven't kept up with many people from back then. Do you remember like Lucas?
Mm-hmm.
And then I got on like my Xbox app the other day and was just like looking through my friends, and there's just so many gamer tags in there where I'm like, man, I hope you're doing well, man, because like it's people that we used to play with all the time, and it'll say like offline for 1,000 days, and I'm just like, man, that's tragic. Just like Captain Salute,
like, give me the trumpets, guys.
Yeah,
like, we're
exactly.
having a funeral.
Yeah, man, it's sad, but I hope all of them are doing well, man. That was a fun era for sure.
Dude, I was an honorary, one of your gang, man.
Heck yeah, dude.
Like, dude, there was like 50 of you guys, and like I'm just like moseying my way in on this new friend group that, and like, dude, it was great. Like all you guys, it was you, it was Blake,
yep,
multiple Blakes,
yep,
another Connor, I remember that,
yep,
and Shamari and Trey, and I hope all those guys are doing great, because I mean, like literally, you guys were like the first people I became like really, really good friends with.
Yeah, man.
And without you guys, obviously maybe, everything would have been the same, but like I wouldn't be here today on the podcast.
Yeah.
If, we hadn't played Halo, and, if I never got online, like, dude, I would have never known like the community that, all the friends I've made, and, that I would have ever been, here in this position now.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Yeah, no, I feel the same way, bro. It's crazy that we met the way we did and stayed in touch for so long, and it's so funny to me because I feel like whenever I met you, which you're like 2 years older than me, I think.
27 in 2 days.
Yeah, so I'm 25 in a month. So I was a squeaker, bro, and I feel like your voice has been deep ever since I met you, and you were in like 6th grade and I was in 4th grade. So it's just funny that you even gave me the time of day on COD, and now here we are, bro. What, 12 years later, 13 years later, even longer maybe? Like, it's insane, dude. Yes. And so yeah, if you want to go over it, Connor came down. So we met in like 2009, gamed for years and years, and Connor's from Missouri, I'm from Oklahoma, so we're pretty close. And I went to Arkansas. Yeah, and I went to Arkansas, and Connor came down and visited one weekend, so we got to finally meet in person, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that.
October 20th, 2018.
Wow. Dude, that was like...
I drove down because it was homecoming.
Yeah.
And so I met you and Blake.
Mm-hmm.
I met some of your other roommates, and then I also went down because Shamari was there, because Shamari was playing for Tulsa. And I was like, dude, let's just knock it all out. I can meet all these guys. Well, I guess you and Shamari. But it's like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
And, I stayed the weekend at your guys' apartment. And, I mean, dude, it was literally reminiscing. And I'll never forget it. So I walked into this apartment, and it was probably, I got there Friday. Game was Saturday. I remember we had a whole bunch of people at your apartment.
Yeah.
And dude, someone brought down the console and puts it up in like the living room.
Yes.
And they're like, Connor, hop on the sticks. And I'm like, first off, I'm like, this is kind of where like you still want to like closet the fact you're a gamer.
Yeah.
Because like it's not as huge in like.
Oh no, it was big in our household.
Yeah. But like, I mean, all these people who like I don't know, and then they're like, "Yo, Connor, hop on the sticks on Fortnite. Let's see how you do." It's like a real testament of how much of a gamer I am. It's like, you're about to join the gaming cult in this household. Like, if you get a victory royale, like you're the guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, no pressure on this.
You could have alphaed us.
But man, it was a time.
Yeah,
and, like that was the funniest thing. Like just meeting and it's like, we've just known each other as like online friends, and then I just get thrown in the heat of the moment, like prove your worth to us.
Yeah.
Like, you can stay online.
Dude, no, it's so funny. You used to have that webcam, and on Xbox, I don't know if it was through Skype or it was just an Xbox app or something, but you could just do like video chat one-on-one. But I didn't have a webcam until like Connect came out, so I usually was just faceless, and then you were just like showing me stuff in your basement, like, yo, check this out.
Dude, hey, I wish I had a picture of it.
Dude, you had the setup, bro.
A picture editor, but it's like, I had this behemoth TV.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking, this TV probably like, 1,000 pounds. Probably not, but,
no,
huge
yeah.
thing.
It's the ones with the backs on them, though.
Well, it has like the whole setup, and it's like, dude, it was like a Mitsubishi TV.
Oh,
and I'm like,
yeah.
dude, they only made motorcycles.
You know that thing weighed a ton.
And I'm like, guys, like, this is the place to be. Like, look at this gaming setup. I can see, the whole map.
Yeah.
And it was huge as a kid.
Yeah.
But, yeah, dude, it was like, that was the best way to communicate. Just hop on the webcam.
Exactly.
Dude, look at the new scuff controller I got.
Yeah.
Look at the trigger mount I got on the back of my controller. And
oh, dude, God, the modded controller era. I didn't even think about that.
The modded controller, the JTags.
Yeah, JTags.
On the Xbox.
I never had a JTag. Evil controllers, though. I remember they put out a montage. It was a World at War montage showing off what an evil controller could do. I was in awe. I was like, I need one, bro. What is that?
The jitter mod, and you're like, I got a jitter mod, and you're just sitting there with the controller smacking as hard as you can.
Oh man, yeah, what an era. But yeah, bro, you had the setup. I always remember your basement, wasn't it a basement?
Oh, it was the basement.
Yeah, dude. I bet that was a fun setup.
The man cave. My parents hated it. They're like, he's so loud, screaming at the top of his lungs, and I'm like, you can't hear anything with the headphones on. Like, I'm in my own space. So,
dude, I remember the first time you told me about Turtle Beaches, because I just had the mic that came with the Xbox, so it was just like the one ear, just horrible robot mic, and you were like, bro, you need to get a Turtle Beach. You can literally hear footsteps across the map. And I was like, what do you mean? And you were like, dude, like, seriously, like, you can just hear someone walking from all the way on the other side of the map. So I thought it was like some super hearing crazy thing. And then,
dude, it was at the time.
It was for sure.
Don't disrespect Turtle Beach like that.
No.
2009 Turtle Beach was the company. Now they're not the company. No offense, Turtle Beach. There's better providers, but at the time,
at the time they were running it. They were running it. But I just remember I got like a $30 Turtle Beach headset. It was probably so bad, but I just remember thinking it was the most life-changing thing in the world, bro. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I was playing without this. Like, that was the first step in my modern gaming setup, because I was still playing on one of those TVs like you talked about, and up until like AW was when I got off the big screen. But it's just so funny, bro, because back then, like, it wasn't about what setup you had. Everyone just hopped on any TV and we just played, bro. Like, Zergriz, I was just looking at his channel today because I was reminiscing. He has a setup video when he was in his prime, and it's like a huge 65-inch flat screen TV from back in the day. He had his Dazzle hooked up on a cord that ran all the way from the living room to his back office, and then he would just like play on there and go edit videos later.
Well, dude, it's like
this dude was a god in the sniping community, and this is what he played on.
Yeah, like I saw a video. I was on TikTok yesterday, and like, so I follow F1 a little bit, and there's a video of Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, and they're like racing sims. And if you guys don't know about Formula One, like Max Verstappen's like top racer. Dude's got this crazy racing sim with like 3 monitors. So, you got your front monitor and then 2 for your side mirrors. He's got, $1,500 wheel and then another TV at the top for his stream.
Jeez.
Full racing rig that's exactly like the cars. And then like Lando Norris pans over and he's got like a little sofa, one monitor. It's like the complete, like, like a huge array of different setups. And it didn't matter. And like that's how the gaming community feels, is like at that time, it's like, who cares if you had the flat screen?
Yeah.
Like who cares if you had like, the little 14-inch like DS monitor or something. Like, dude, it was fun nonetheless. Like to just go out there and just like, have the little time of your life.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Well, what a time, dude. What a time. I'm glad that we got to live it together. And we're still in the space in some capacity. It's crazy to think about.
So here's what I'm hearing is COD reunion in, I don't know how long is it going to take for Microsoft to put COD on Game Pass?
That's a good question, actually.
Give me some, COD 4 on the Game Pass. Bring all the boys back.
Yeah.
This is a shout out to all the people who were ever in my clans, who ever knew me and Dak.
Yeah.
If you ever see this video,
we're putting the bat signal up.
Hold up. Let me look at my calendar. Random date. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Okay. July 6th, 2028. When COD comes on there, it's a reunion.
If you were in BBA, LG,
era. Let's say you're gonna go on COD 4 and you're gonna search for headquarters, and we'll all be there. Say 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
Boom. I'll see you guys there.
Yep.
That's again. Throw out the bat signal.
It's a date. Set in stone.
It's in my calendar. I just put it in.
All right.
I'll never forget until tomorrow when I actually put it in my calendar. And if you guys go there, I'm very sorry, but I hope someday we reconnect by that.
Yeah, dude. No, seriously, that'll be fun whenever it all comes to Game Pass. And I was just talking about that with some of my friends the other day. I hope it has like good controller support on PC, and we can just play the games as they were, because that would be so fun.
The COD community's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you watch Merc Music at all, or no Merc Music?
Yeah, I know who it is. I haven't watched him in a long time.
Oh, I not a big fan, but I mean, dude, they do COD days all the time. Like you have these guys who like COD 10 years ago, like what is it like? And like they hop in and they get these lobbies, or like let's resurrect the day.
Yeah.
And like if I had the games and I didn't have to pay for it on PC and it was on Game Pass, I'm cool with it. But like I'm not buying, your $700 Call of Duty bundle that comes out.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
Game, like Advanced Warfare that may still be $60.
Right.
Like I'm not doing it.
Yeah, no, me neither. So we will be there when it drops on Game Pass, and we're gonna rally the troops.
July 6th.
July 6th, 2028, 8 p.m.
2028. I'll be there.
We're going to be there. Headquarters, COD 4. All right, man. Well, Connor, it's been awesome. We put in an hour of talk time. We'll have to have you on again, bro, because I feel like we're not done.
Yeah.
So,
dude, get your triple set up.
Yeah.
Just put me in a little box underneath, and I'll just wreak havoc for all you guys.
Yeah, next time we'll have Blake in here, so I'm sure he'll want to ask some stuff. And, Blake's got his own path. He's been heavy on COD for years. So, but yeah, Connor, I appreciate you hopping on here, bro. First guest. I enjoyed it. As always, it's a great time talking to you. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it too, man. It has been a blast to reminisce, because you've just unlocked that section of my brain again where I remember it all. It just took one conversation that we haven't had in years.
Yeah.
To bring back all those good memories. So I'm very appreciative. I want to give my shout outs.
Yeah, go for it.
Shout out again, Lindenwood again. Thank you guys for everything. Shout out Burns, you're a great guy. And shout out Next Wave.
Yes, sir.
Secure some funding, and I'll get you guys a great roster. I'll just push my team to you guys.
Yeah, that would be cool. When they graduate, hit me up.
When they graduate,
yeah.
I mean, they can leave.
I'll just poach Lindenwood players. That's how we'll get started.
But for a shout out everyone, and I'm very appreciative to be here, and I don't have any socials to plug. I don't know. On X, it's Connor J. Gage, and that's probably it, because I don't use any other social media.
All right. We'll throw your Twitter in the description.
Yes, throw it in. That'd be great.
All right.
But thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, this has been great.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Dak and Connor, aka Drizzy. Hope it was pretty insightful to see some of the operations and behind the scenes of collegiate esports. If you guys enjoyed this episode 16, getting close to 20, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. Definitely helps the channel grow. But yeah, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and be on the lookout for episode 17. Peace.